Good evening, everybody. It must be Thursday night. Another edition of Born Political. I'm your host, Joe Dela Cruz. If you noticed in the intro, it doesn't say State Representative Dela Cruz anymore. I was officially not the state rep yesterday. I think at about 11:30 in the morning. Andre Bumgarner is the new state representative, and like I said again, I'll make sure I'll be working with him to give him any help he needs. Tonight's guest is from the other side of the river. A lot of you guys know that I'm a New London guy. And when I moved over here to Groton, I had to keep getting reminded that if I wanted to see civilization, that I should come back over the bridge. Like Groton's a little bit country, and it is to some extent. But I like to have them come over and see the life that we live over here. Now, this is a New London legend in my mind. He's owned a business in New London for 53 years. I met him through work. He's a great guy, great business guy. You're going to notice his name comes up as retired because thankfully he got to do that. And I'm looking forward to meeting him. Hopefully you guys out here in Groton and Stonington like what you see. And I'm sure you've heard of him anyway. If you ever had any work on your boiler or plumbing, you probably dealt with Murry at one point or another. But without further ado, Murry, welcome to the show. Welcome to Groton.
Thank you for having me, Joe. Pleasure to be over here. And I want to compliment who's ever in charge of the stoplights on Long Hill Road. I went right there because I was a little late, and when I was in New London, every red light I hit, as soon as I got to Long Hill Road, it was cake. Getting here only 5 minutes late.
You see how it is in civilization?
I didn't think you had it in you over here.
I got to tell you, you are correct though. But Route 1 for our part of it is amazing. The state just went through it. So from one end to the other, it's all new pavement. They did a lot of the upgrades. Those are newer lights. So I think they read traffic patterns and they're adaptive. So it's one of those things. The project got done, and you're the benefit of it today.
What does that mean, adaptive? You're throwing me
they're adaptive to the traffic. So a lot of these lights that we have in the state now, if they're new, they'll read traffic patterns. And so when you saw that they were turning green as you went, it was to keep the flow going.
That's tremendous.
Those things talk to each other now. They're not independent. They all work in flow. So that eventually saves gas money, and so you're not sitting at a light.
So is there a wire in the road, or is this done?
Cameras are on top.
Tremendous.
The wires in the road, sometimes I think that's the older technology. The newer lights are just reading that there's actual vehicles in place. You don't have to worry about cutting lines and ruining the paving and putting wires in and pressure sensors. So a lot of them still are that way, pressure with a wire. But I think all the newer ones are camera.
Well, they're working.
Yeah, they're working, and that's who Murry Renshaw is. He likes he's the nuts and bolts guy. So he has his own show over in New London. It's called the Renshaw Report.
Boring.
It's
I put myself to sleep, to be honest with you.
You know, I got to tell you though, there were at least 2 or 3 really good shows you had because I was the guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kept people awake that day, and you interviewed me as the state representative, and you know, you and I we find ourselves on separate sides of politics often.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. But never ever, gentleman-like, and we've always discussed the issues, and that's what I liked about you. And I know you're passionate too. But the show Born Political is about my guests and who they are. And you have such a long storied career in New London, 53 years in business. But did you?
40 in business.
40 in business, 53 years old wrenching, 53 years wrenching. But you started, were you a New London guy, like elementary school all the way up, or were you from?
I was born in New London. My father was in the service. So we travel around quite a bit. When I got out of high school, I came back to New London and have been here ever since.
Oh, so you went to high school out of state, or you
Philadelphia.
were in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
That's why you're so tough. City of brotherly love, man.
Not tough.
They toughen you up down there. So I didn't realize that. But again, I just assumed that, because we were talking about my mom and my large family, and if you knew of them, but you wouldn't have went to school. So in elementary, at no point did you go to school in London, or?
I went to St. Joseph's for about a month and ran away. And my cousin, on the other hand, who Richard Cash.
Yes.
He went to school locally, but I wasn't lucky enough. I wish I had, because what I see, Joe, from the people that I know, they have friends that they go back all the way to kindergarten with, and they're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. I mean, the camaraderie is second to none.
Yeah, well, you know that, the green and gold, the feeling, you see it because you're talking. But I think your camaraderie you built, although you might not have met these guys in high school, you have the group of folks that go to your shop still to this day. and you guys get to talk politics and whatever's happening in New London of the day. And I think you've developed that group after, and through your business. I mean, how many customers do you think you served over the 40 years? Got to be thousands and thousands.
A lot.
It was, right?
And every day was fun. There wasn't a day that I didn't like to go to work. I never had a bad day. Even on a bad day,
Yep.
I loved what I did. And I love to advise young kids, find a job you love, because if you don't love it, it's going to be work. And it's a long time to go to work. I know so many people who don't like what they do.
Yeah.
But I advise young people all the time on that.
So what people don't know is tonight it's live here, but at 8:00 tonight I'll be on your show, the Renshaw Report, which I'm excited about being back over there. I was able to talk to people.
Well, let's see how this goes first, Joe.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
We're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, no.
The invite is very iffy. We're on eggshells.
So far, we're okay.
So far, we're doing good.
Good.
I told you. So really about you then. So most people don't understand that when someone commits to the military, like your father did, they're not committing themselves. They're committing their whole family.
Yeah.
Changing schools, coming to new communities. So when you live in a community like Groton, like before I came to Groton from New London, I didn't understand the impact that we have in what we do, how it affects our Navy families and people that aren't from around here. And the Coast Guard is just like that to New London. But these are young men, and they usually don't have children. So I got that part. I feel like we always, we would see students or Coast Guard cadets, buy them lunch or go thank them for their service and try to do things that make them feel like part of the community. But with the Navy, it's different. The Navy, these are full families, and the outreach is a little bit different. And what a different community. But to know you're in the same position that a lot of these young kids that we work with are. One day, my wife said she had like 4 or 5 really good friends in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and then they went away, and you never found them again.
Yeah.
Because they went to somewhere else. Their father was serving, or mom was serving, and I think that impacts a lot of the ways you think later on politically. I'm sure, being a military family, I'm sure that's, you have a certain view on what the military means or what it means for your dad to be in it.
I appreciate it more now than I did growing up, or that I did for most of my life. But that was a tough existence and a very difficult, very difficult lifestyle in a lot of ways. There were a lot of good points that I remember, but as a kid, as a dependent, I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. I learned how to talk to people. You learn how to get along with people.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But moving every 3 years, I would never put my kid through it.
Yeah.
And I respect.
Yeah, it was what it was, right?
I saw those guys coming in yesterday on a sub. They're on a 6-month deployment. I can't imagine it. I get homesick now from. Well, my wife doesn't really want me to come home, but I miss it. But the sacrifice that they make, I take my hat off and thank every one of them with the way they live.
Yeah.
And their wives and their dependents.
Yeah. So you graduate from Philadelphia, high school in Philadelphia.
Went to Springfield, Delaware County, which is the north side of Philadelphia.
Yeah. And then when you came back to New London, was your dad still in the service, or was he coming back?
He was still in the service. We were stationed. His last station was Philadelphia, and he retired after that. But I came home as soon as I got out of high school, because my uncle came and got me because they thought I was going to end up in jail for some reason.
Philadelphia has that effect on some people. What's funny is I'm so tribal. None of us left. I have a couple cousins went to Florida, but for the most part, I have 24 first cousins, and for the most part, they all went to school in New London. A couple went to East Lyme, and my brother went to Montville. So we're in a real small area, and to be able to lean on family and friends and always know that it's different when you're at school and someone's picking on you and someone says, "Oh, that's my cousin." It's a different situation. And then the person that's picking on one person realizes that they're related to half of the school. It becomes an issue for them. And I often think about these young Navy kids. You bring it up because it definitely seems like it's affected you. In how you've operated. So when you come back to New London, your uncle picks you up, and what do you do then? Did you go to school after, or did you go right into the workforce?
No, I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship with Albert Filipino, who
Filipino.
was the best. And I was lucky enough, I worked with, as far as I'm concerned, the best mechanics there were. And
Yeah.
they wanted you to learn. One was from Groton, by the way.
See, it's not so bad.
One of my mentors, Bill Sullivan, lived on Blueberry Hill Road, I think it was.
Blueberry Hill, yep.
Tremendous guy.
Yeah, Bill Sullivan. So someone will recognize that name out here. But Filipina, actually, at the tail end of Filipina, when they were still just about surviving, I was entering my career. In 1989, I started with Tech Air.
It's a low blow, Joe.
What's that?
It's a low blow.
It's a low blow.
You,
What, Tech
you're
Air?
making an old man out of me here.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, they did quality work. So they still had the building. It's funny because I was in the building they're on the crossroads.
Right.
In the back there, some guy bought it that we were doing some work for through Hillary Company. Some guy was doing, they fixed like, industrial machines, and we were doing some work for him there. But I worked with them at the Lyman Allen Museum. They did that job. They did a bunch of different stuff. So you worked for Filipina for how long?
I served my apprenticeship with Filipino.
Yeah.
And then I went out to Millstone. And then I went to Groton Piping
Yeah.
and bounced around a little bit. And then I went in business.
So Filipino was union then, right?
Yeah.
And then at Millstone you were with like Atlantic or whoever the Bechtel or whoever the big guy was then.
Yeah, it was a Basco, Stone and Webster,
Stone and Webster.
and
Yeah.
Bechtel.
Yeah.
But I never stayed for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But it was tremendous.
You work with the Hodges, Andy and
Absolutely.
those boys. And
Andy Hodge
Vinny.
looks like Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, you're right about that a little bit. I worked with Andy. I'm a union sheet metal worker. He's a union fitter, so we work together quite a bit here and there. But so now you're done because you want to open your own business. Were you laid off and said you're going to do it, or you just said I'm done working for other people and I want to?
Actually, if you want to know the truth, I got in a little political mess.
Union political or political?
Union political.
We know how that
And
works.
I screwed up pretty good. But it all worked out in the end.
Well, so you may be on the outside. It's funny because every single sector of one's life somehow is political, right? Because somebody has either the power to put you on a job or take you off a job or put you somewhere else or put you working with a guy that you don't like or on purpose. I mean, that's been done to me too. We know how those things work in funny ways. So you were kind of forced into it, but it's got to be scary, right? You're starting a business and you're like,
No, it was stupid, to be honest with you. And I made a lot of mistakes
yeah.
through the years, which I think about all the time.
Yeah, but you know what? You got where you are, and you served for 40 years. You ran a business. It's impressive, Murray. That's something to be proud of.
Joe, the only thing I got 4 grandkids
Oh,
out of my life, and
yeah,
if I didn't have them,
yeah,
nobody ever see me ever again.
yeah.
But
yeah. But you're fighting for them.
from that perspective, it was all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you do your show. You do the guys you talk to a lot, and it's the same with me now. I find that the things that I want to see changed have very little to do with me. Like if you're fighting to lower a tax or you want something done or you don't think something should happen in London, it's because you're thinking of your grandkids now. Because my mind's already transferred to that. Like everything that I do and I move forward. Of course, my daughter, she means so much to me. And then she brought this little guy to me that just, they make you want to melt right in your chair, right where you're sitting.
The best thing in the world, grandkids.
It is, right?
Nothing better.
He calls me Lolo. So,
I'll tell you a funny story. I was doing a job in the Bahamas for a real nice guy, John Beauchesne. I don't know if you know John Beauchesne. He was from New London. He lived,
Okay.
real good guy. He got me over there. You would never have a job like this in your life. They really didn't need me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But the guy liked me, and he was the second largest property owner in Nassau. Very wealthy man. You'd never know it. Talking with him was exactly like talking with you and I right here.
yeah.
So I was in and out of there because of the computer and the cell phone. You can be in 2 places at once. So I could be away from here and over there. They flew me back and forth for a couple of years, for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
And what years are you talking? Is later or earlier in your career?
This was probably 10 years ago.
Oh, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. So I get over there one night, and I'm thinking I should be taking my grandson to soccer tomorrow. You know, I'm
Yeah.
over. I thought I was having a nervous breakdown.
Wow.
I got up that morning. I said, I'm getting out of here, and I'm not coming back. I don't care how much money I can make over here. I'm not coming back. And for a while, I had nightmares that I had to go back.
Wow.
That's just how I felt. It sounds corny, but
No, it doesn't. I understand. It shows you how your grandkids are a magnet, right?
Absolutely.
And you're not leaving it aside. I talk about that often. I have a lot of friends that, they say, well, when you retire, you can go and move, and it could be anywhere in the country, but it wouldn't be nice, and no one knew you. And I'm the opposite. I like going to a restaurant in either Groton or London, and people knowing who I am and know what I like, and already before you sit down, they know you're getting the chicken wings or whatever it is. I like the camaraderie of it all, and I can't even imagine. I've had some uncles that did. They left EB, retired at 55. My uncle's 88 now, so here's someone that had a big impact on my life that retired and went to Florida first, or Houston first, then Florida, and now they're in Las Vegas. But in the last 35 years, I've probably seen them couple dozen times, and there's nothing against them. That's what they wanted to do, but it's hard for me to imagine. My mother and father stayed right here. Like my mother lives in Waterford, and my father lives in Montville. So in 10 minutes, I could be at my mother's house, and that's important to me. And I want to make sure that my grandson has the same thing. I had a panic attack when my daughter moved to Ledyard. They packed up, and they're looking for houses, and I'm looking in my neighborhood, something close, and they're looking for land, which there's not a lot of land in my neighborhood. You know where I'm at, by the soccer field. And, that I understand that too, that she's become like a farm girl now. She loves the country, and they got chickens and all that other stuff. So I talk to them about civilization now, because they wouldn't even, they're a little further away from what I grew up in, and then moved to here, and I had a little more breathing room. And now I think they have like 8 or 9 acres, and they want to build a path where they can do dirt bikes through the woods and all that other stuff.
tremendous.
Yeah. So how many let's talk about your grandkids. It's the focus of your life, right? I mean, you and your wife, how long have you been married?
51 years.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny. You got married the same year I was born, Murray. What
not-
month?
My wife's not listening, so I can tell you
Put
that
you
every
on the
year I
spot.
have to call the town hall to see what date it was, but it was August 28th.
August 28th, 51 years.
I don't know what year, but
Yeah. That's awesome. 51 years. So, and then
I
how
would
many,
have divorced myself. I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know how she did it.
she must be a strong woman.
She's a strong, stubborn woman.
Yep. Every relationship, someone has to be the strong one. It worked that way in my house too. Keeps you grounded, and you're going out and you're hustling and you're doing everything you're doing in the plumbing world and in your business. And if you come home and if you don't have someone strong there, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, she's definitely a strong one.
Yeah. And then how many kids?
I had 4
4 kids. Yep.
and 4 grandkids.
4 grandkids. So what's boys and girls for your kids?
Unfortunately, my son-in-law didn't give me the opportunity to have a granddaughter.
He didn't.
I've got all grandsons. I would love to have a princess to spoil.
I can't imagine. I'm in the same boat. My daughter's about to have her second, and it's going to be 2 boys. And it's funny because when they're young, and God, you've dealt with this. I talked to my future son-in-law, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? Maybe you guys should have a third or something, because I wish maybe we had more. And you talk that way, and when someone's young, they're in the middle of it. They don't see the end like we do. They don't see the end, what a grandchild will look like, or what the potential is later. They're looking at the now, and the now is, how do I feed this extra kid? How do I get this extra kid to another soccer game or another practice? And it's sad because we always, you say the older you get, the wiser you get. But I think looking back, none of it matters. Even the little fights that they have, where they're like, oh, they're upset that the kid isn't able to go to this or that. None of it matters. That's the beauty about being a grandparent is.
And what I see now, my youngest one is 11. So I've been in a position where I put them on the bus in the morning, and this was true with all of them. Put them on the bus in the morning, be there in the afternoon when the bus they get off the bus, and my oldest one is 18. He's going to Holy Cross, so I don't pick him up anymore.
No.
He's in love. I lost him.
He's in love?
He's in love.
He found the one already?
I think so. Yeah. he doesn't have time for me. Yeah. The next one is 16.
Yeah.
He's in love.
A lot of love going on in the Renshaw, in the Renshaw family, huh?
So all I got now is James, who is 11,
Yeah.
and he's running the whole show. But pretty soon I'm not going to be able to pick him up every day. That's going to kill me.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? You feel it's hard. I know what you're saying because I can't even imagine. Right now, I'm in the 4-year-old stage, which I'm sure you wish you could rewind time and get that back, or just have a few more come up, right? And now we're going to be back with the baby stage again, which I think the 4-year-old stage right now is my favorite. But I think every year is going to be my favorite. You know, he'll grab stuff and help you build stuff. He's one of those kids that's just going to be a hands-on kid. Did you teach any of the other kids do plumbing? Did any of your kids take that?
Got one
take up the
son
trade?
that's a plumber.
Yeah.
One son that's a policeman.
Yeah. Where's he serving? The police? What
East
town?
Lyme.
East Lyme. Yep. So they're local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the kids that steal the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. My older, the two boys didn't marry. They don't have children.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they left me out. They could have had a couple too. Would have
Yeah.
made it bigger. But you know, I came up with a new philosophy on worldly things
Yeah.
with regard to kids. You know, you advise your grandchildren, or you advise your brother, or you advise anybody. And for some reason, we don't listen to what other people who've had experience, made mistakes, say. I was like that myself. If you told me I couldn't do it, I did it.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
It is.
If you could figure out human nature, you could solve a lot of problems of this world. And I mean, look at us, 2022, we're still killing each other?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Somebody needs to figure that out and save a lot of people a lot of headaches and heartache.
I think that's what I'm trying to do on this show, actually, because
I do marriage counsel too.
you do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll call Tammy. See what.
Yeah, come down to the shop. I do.
You guys do it right in the old shop.
Right in the shop. Yeah, absolutely.
But you are. I think the answer is love. If people, when I look at my grandson, if we could look at other children the same way and have that same feeling. I mean, obviously, I'm connected to my grandson at a different level that I could with any other child on this planet. But you really have to feel the same for all, right? If my grandson goes to a class with 26 kids in there, I want to make sure that all 26 are healthy and happy. And I think community, we can do that. We can. There's a lot of organizations and families and parent groups that get together, and just to make sure the Sandy Hook tragedy that happened, which can't be described as anything other than, hopefully it's a once in a lifetime and it never ever happens again. But a lot was learned from that. They went in and dug down the families. I've got to meet with a lot of the mothers and fathers who lost their I mean,
Can't imagine it.
you just can't even picture it. But they've taken that and they really have developed programs and figured out what the right path is. And they didn't just think about their own little school anymore, because when you talk to anybody that's in the Newtown and you want to talk about counseling, and they say, don't worry, our kids are getting all of it. This tragedy made them focus on it, but they wanted to see, okay, how do we move this outward and how do we move to other communities? And a lot of it is just talking and making sure we stay closer together. I think our main goal in life in our country seems to be, who can have the most, who can do the most, when it really all should boil down to, how much love can you give? How much time can you see your family? You have the love. You left, what sounds to me 10 years ago, if someone told me I had a job that I knew and I was getting paid well and it happened to be on an island, I think most people would take that and say, why would you ever leave it? and it was that love in your heart, that feeling that I can't be away from my grandkid, because we all have limited time. That we had a colleague that we lost last night in a car accident on the way home from the governor's ball in a wrong way.
I read that. Terrible.
39 years old. If you knew him, Murray, you'd love him. This kid, if you could have the worst day going that you've had all week and something going wrong, and when you walked in, this kid's smile was so big, and he was just a really happy, jovial guy. And to lose him at 39 years old, it just proved to me again that we have to pay attention to who we love and what we love, and not get ahead of ourselves. We all tend to do that. If I do this, and that, and in 10 years I can do this. How about today? Make sure that you're hugging your grandkid. It doesn't sound like you forget that, though.
Well, Joe, the other side of the coin, though, I feel guilty at times. We have so much, and there's so many kids. I mean, that I see on a regular basis that don't have anything.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. It really is.
It is, and it's you can get it yourself and that's how I felt too, because we're in the world of working in the world of addiction. It seems like this wave of people that it just seems like it's nonstop, and it does feel that way. My wife was on the phone for the last. It's busier now. It comes and goes in spurts for whatever reason, but she's been on the phone every single day dealing with people trying to get. And it's a mom that calls for the very first time for this very minute she found out her son's addicted, and she's just uncontrollable. And to get her from uncontrollable to get her to the point where she's taking action, where she's actually going to be able to help her loved one, because that's hard to do. When someone's addicted, the answer is not to give them any money and not help them, and not. That's a hard thing to take in and breathe.
Talking about tough love?
Yep, it's hard.
Yeah, didn't work for me.
Yeah, tough love is. Well, I say tough love, but it's just meeting people where they're at and helping them when they get the help that they need.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how are we going to solve this problem?
That's love too. I mean, it sounds so. I mean, I remember used to hear people say, "All we need is love," but we need to meet people where they're at, and we've done that. I mean, we've seen miracles. Murray, if you came to our office down on Thames Street and saw that we have all these pictures on the wall of people, and people walk in and say, "Oh my God, did you lose them?" I said, "No, we didn't." They were so addicted that we thought we did lose them, and guess what? They found a way. They came back, and here they are. We only have a minute left, Murray.
Really?
A minute. It's a half-hour show.
Wow.
We go really fast here. It's and I knew it would be. And I'm glad you're my first real New London guy that I've had over here in 34 shows. Well, my mother I had on.
Open your eyes up, Joe. We're in civilization over here.
I can't open them up too wide. They kind of, when I smile, they disdisappear. That's what happens in my
I had some rotten questions for you too.
You had rotten questions. I'm not in politics anymore, so
I know, but you're still. You're the last guy in the world that I would ever have believed was in politics.
Yeah.
When you what were you before?
Town council.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Then I was on RTM, but yeah. So
although I didn't agree with just about anything you did.
We like each other. I think that's not debatable.
No,
We'll debate our
absolutely.
politics. We are friends. Murray, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, next Thursday on Born Political, we'll see you. It'll be live again. And if you get a chance on Atlantic Broadband, you'll see Murray's show. I'll be on that, and I'll share it out on my Facebook too. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Take it easy. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
That was fun.